What is up, guys? It is the Bluebloods here, man. This has been one of our more requested interviews since the season ended. We got our guy Daniel Hardy, Montana State defensive end, a first team All FCS All American, first team All Big Sky All American, and he is here today to talk about his draft process, the season, and his career at Montana State. Daniel, appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Thank you for having me, man. It's exciting.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's go way back. I know it's been a long journey, but going all the way back to high school, man, what was your recruiting process like? Who was recruiting you the hardest?
Um, is I didn't really have much of a high school recruiting process, if I'm being honest. I only played football for my senior year in high school, and so when it came time to get recruited, not a lot of people knew who I was. So I mean, I really only got a little bit of attention from Portland State because that's where I'm from. It's the local school in my town, and they offered me a walk-on position over there. And I was paying for college on my own, so in order to not rack up a bunch of debt, I decided to go to a junior college.
Right. And so, you were in junior college for a year and then you wind up at Montana State. Out of junior college, what led you to commit to Montana State? What was it about the program? What was their pitch to you? And what led you to want to be at that program?
Honestly, it was so the a big major thing for me is just the relationship the players have with the coaches. I Out of like all of my coaches that I've ever had, I still have a great relationship with them. Still connected with them, still talk to them on a regular basis. Um, and so when I went on my official visit, that was one of the things I tried to pay really close attention to, and it just seemed like the coaches were there um, in order to help the players, no matter what they needed. It seemed like a family, like they were honestly mentors, not only football wise, but also as men. Helping guys, and their priority was making guys better as people, not necessarily just as football players. And I thought that was something that was very valuable, and I just thought it would be a great place for me.
Man, it paid off in a big way, but one of the biggest thing for FCS programs and athletes this past year was the COVID season, and some teams, especially in the Big Sky, did not play. Other teams only played 3, 4 games for the year. Looking back, how tough was that season for you and the program in general?
It was. I mean, that time was particularly tough for us because we did opt out of all the games, and then we were going through a coaching change as well, and so just kind of it added to more of the uncertainty that came with that whole COVID season, because you didn't know if you were going to be able to practice the next day, or if somebody was going to be able to be there, or if somebody was going to be quarantined. So it was difficult because as a football player, you're used to having your whole schedule laid out for you, knowing where you're going to be at what exact time, and everything that went with that. And so all that uncertainty just kind of left a lot of people feeling lost. Just not knowing what was going to come next. And but I think it was also an opportunity in disguise. It was an opportunity for our team to get closer, and because we had to depend on each other. You know, it was. I think honestly, it kind of added. It was one of the reasons why we made such a deep run in the playoffs this year, and had the ability to make it to the national championship, because we were all dependent on each other. We had been through that, um, adversity before, and so it just added to our strength as a team.
It definitely did. And you mentioned this season was a huge season, not only for Montana State, but also yourself. I just mentioned first team All FCS, first team Big Sky, top 3 in total sacks this season in the FCS. For you, looking back, what were some of the keys to your breakout season this year?
Honestly, I would say it was our new coaching method. When it first started, so we started double repping when our new coaching staff came in, and at the time, it was kind of something you hate because you're getting burnt out through the spring, just taking loads of reps. But especially playing a new position, my first time with my hand in the dirt, I feel like having all those extra reps really not only A, got me in shape, but B, helped me learn quicker, learn the new position, get comfortable, understand. It slowed the game down for me, just, being able to see stuff over and over and over again. And, by the time we got to the season, it was like, all right, like I've been here, I know exactly what to do, type of thing.
Man, and it was one of the more impressive seasons, man. And as a team, when you look at what you guys accomplished, even though you guys came one step short, I know, of your ultimate goal, what were your takeaways on your final season at Montana State?
Uh, Honestly, just how much not only I grew personally, but how, the whole team grew. We had a lot of guys, like young guys, have to step up and do, play pretty important roles this year, and I felt like they did it flawlessly. You look at guys like Tommy Malott, some of the younger dudes on the D line who had to step up and play bigger roles, with injuries and things like that. Um, I thought we did a really great job of doing that.
And you guys definitely did. And you guys were the first Montana State team to make it to an FCS championship since 1984. When I say that, what does that mean to you to do it your senior year to get this program back on the map into an FCS national title?
It meant a lot. Obviously, the Montana State uh, culture is a very prideful one. They have a standard of excellence there, and like you said, that 1984 team, like, we look up to those guys. They're around the program. We see them all the time, and trying to live up to that legacy, trying to hold live up to that standard is something that's very important to us. So, even though we didn't win the national title, just kind of upholding that standard of excellence and knowing that like just making it to the semifinals isn't good enough, just and allowing for the young guys in the program to see that this is what the standard is. Excellence is what we're going for. Like, it's very important, and I think it's just going to keep adding to this future success of the program, because everybody sees that we're we're a legitimate program, and we're not here to play around. We're here to take care of business and get something done.
Man, absolutely. And I know, this defense this year really led you guys. I know Tommy and Isaiah Fonzie and those guys had a great opportunity on the offensive side of the ball, but yourself, I just got done covering the Senior Bowl down in Mobile, Alabama, so got to see your teammate as well at linebacker there. But for you, man, what made this defense special between Troy, yourself, and some of the other players that really stepped up?
I think it was just because we had all had like a lot of guys have been there for a very long time. Troy's been there uh, for I believe 5 years. This was my fourth and a half year. Chase Benson's been there for God knows how, I think 6 years. Just a lot of veteran experience, guys who have been through a lot together. And just when things got tough, understanding that we could lean on each other in order to make things happen.
And man, it was an impressive season for the defense. But you mentioned the new coaching staff. Brent Vegan is one of the best coaches at the FCS level. The staff he brought in is excellent. For you, what is he like behind the scenes, and what makes him such a special coach?
The man is a genius. Like, and he officially runs our program, and he's a great guy. A lot of people, they may see him and he's kind of a serious guy, but he likes to joke around a little bit behind the scenes. Great guy. And is I think I honestly wish I had more time to get to know him better. Being my first season and with him, and I just kind of wish I had an opportunity to get to know him more personally. But um, you know, insanely grateful for what he did for me in this program, and I'm definitely looking forward to see what he does in the future.
Oh man, they're very, very bright, days ahead of this Montana State program under head coach Vegan. But for you, the Missouri Valley the Big Sky, the CAA, they always get talked about who's the best conference at the FCS level. Can you kind of talk about how tough the grind is week in and week out in the Big Sky with Eastern Washington, with the in-state rival Montana, and some of the great teams y'all have in the conference?
Oh yeah, I definitely think we have one of the toughest conferences in the country. You see like the guys who like like you said with Eastern Washington, Eric Berrier, with the awards that he won, the numbers he put up this year. Obviously, Weber State's always been pretty much the big dog, the top dog in our conference. The things that they've done, the type of players that they've put out. Montana, not my favorite program, but we don't have to talk about that. But they obviously put out some great guys too. Usually, I mean, as far as I've been there have been at least 3 to 4 Big Sky teams in the playoffs every year. So, we're definitely a contender. And, obviously Missouri Valley's got their big dogs too. But when it comes down to it, I think we have some of the best teams in the country, as you saw that a lot of people saw this year.
Absolutely, man. I think you guys, Montana, Eastern Washington, have been putting the Big Sky on the map, and you mentioned Weber State as well. And I believe Sac State was a seed this year too, in the other side of the bracket as well. But to get to this offseason, man, you're preparing to go into the NFL draft, man. But I want to talk about your experience at the NFLPA game this offseason. What was that like? Do you feel like you accomplished what you need to do, and what was just that overall experience like for you?
It was a learning experience. All the coaches there for each teams had opportunities to play in the NFL. They brought in current and former NFL players. Just gave us the opportunity to pick their brains, talk to them, understand what we're getting ourselves into, what to expect. They had a nightly conferences for us where they brought in somebody who could teach us something new about the NFL. It was a huge learning experience. And then on top of that, it was an opportunity for me to, especially, I mean, not only me, but me, Lance, and Lewis, to pretty much show the world that we can compete at that level, that we can compete with guys from bigger schools and things like that. So amazing opportunity.
It definitely was. And I think, you mentioned Lance yourself, and even Troy at the Senior Bowl this week had rave reviews as well. So I think you guys did that in terms of proving that the FCS level is not a step down. But, you know, to get to know you a bit more as a player, man, looking at your game from freshman year when you stepped on campus at JUCO and your first year at Montana State until now, how do you feel like your game has evolved?
I felt like, so when like you said, a lot of things have stayed the same. I'm somebody who plays with a ton of passion. Um, I pour my heart and soul into this. So, you get to see that a lot of the times on the field, whether it's through celebration or, I feel like my effort on the field also communicates that as well. But I feel like I'm uh, more focused. I was kind of when I first got to JUCO, I was kind of a wild, um, you know, unperfect craft. Like I was a raw talent. And I feel like I've honed my skill. I've perfected it and started to, the beginning stages of mastering it. I'm more detailed in what I do. I'm not just kind of winging it. I have a process that I go through, with every game. And, it's almost become a part of, who I am. Like it's a part of my daily routine. When I wake up, it's more ingrained into my personality.
Man, absolutely, and I love that answer for you, man. But looking at your game right now, which NFL player do you think you model your game after the most?
Ooh, that's a tough question. We watch a lot of NFL film and we take a lot of different things from NFL guys, but I think the one I take from the most might be TJ Watt. We looked at a lot of guys like Nick Bosa, his other brother with the Chargers, Miles Garrett, um, Aaron Donald, guys like that, who are obviously amazing pass rushers, but they're also like freaks of nature. And not to say that TJ isn't, but I feel like he has more of a finesse
to his game, and he's not really much of a, just a guy who can kind of pick somebody up and 300-pound man up and just throw him. So I feel like I take a lot from him, and especially like the season that he had this year was ridiculous. So
Yeah.
I love to watch his film and see if I can steal stuff from his game.
Man, I love that comparison. I think this season you proved that you could be that type of player as well. But to kind of get to know how you get ready, man, we see the passion on the field and everything like that. But before the game, what is your pregame routine to get in that mindset to ready to go out there and put on the performance that you did?
Absolutely. Usually, so obviously, I get in my zone. I usually put a towel over my head, get the headphones in, and I have my pregame hype playlist that I listen to. And I'm a big believer in visualization and positive self-talk. So if I can see myself, everything that I've ever done on a football field, I've seen myself doing it beforehand. Um, just visualizing it in your brain, and then talking to myself positively. Um, uh, Whatever it may be, like whatever I need to do to get the job done, I'm talking to myself before the game. And then we go out on the field, and as a D line, we had a quick huddle at midfield, and we kind of talk to each other and get our minds right for that game, get our final messages to each other before we go out there. Get a quick little pass rush drill with our D line coach. And then when I come back into the locker room, I usually have a conference call with my family, and we pray before the game, and then I kind of have my own little personal talk with God after we get off the phone with them, and then we have our team. We come together, everybody says what they need to say, and then we get ready to go.
Oh man, I like that. That man, it's straight to the point, routine, and man, it pays off, man. It gets you in that zone, but you don't have to give away all your trade secrets here. Don't give the NFL offensive tackles any ideas. But when you're one on one with an offensive tackle, man, what's the number one mistake they can make against you?
Oh, that's a that's a that's a good question. I would say if you're punching high, that's not a great thing. If you're aiming for my shoulders, that would not be in your best interest.
You said you could try if you want, but it's not going to protect your quarterback in the slightest. But I know every edge rusher is different. And for you, what do you think is your best pass rush technique?
Honestly, so it, it used to it towards the beginning of the year, my go-to was kind of the dip and rip. I love to bend the corner, reduce the shoulder. Those big guys are usually great at bending down low, but a lot of guys started to pick up on that, so I had to start um changing my game a little bit, mixing in a different couple hand fighter moves, and doing things like that. So honestly, it's really just I take whatever they give me.
I like it. I like it. You said, well, I can beat you on the outside. I can bend, spin, anything. I can get to the quarterback. But I was a former O lineman. And I know in the trenches it gets it can get feisty in there, and it can get real. A lot of trash talk is exchanged. For
Oh yeah.
you, how big of a trash talker are you during the game?
I'm usually not one to talk unless I've been spoken to first. Um, you know, it's I like to try and keep it to myself. But when people start talking, I'll go with them. I wouldn't say it's a huge part of my game. I'm not really one. I like to talk with my game more. Um, but yeah, no, there's definitely some trash talk going on this year, for sure. You might even be able to see some of it on film. But at the end of the game, it's always in good sportsmanship, good fun. Anybody who I usually am talking trash to, we're usually shaking it up after the game, and just letting each other know it's a good battle, no matter what the outcome was. So it's never really personal. It's usually kept between the white lines.
Oh man, that's how it always has to be, man. Because people don't understand. I'm a former O lineman, man. To be an O line or D lineman, you have to have a different type of mindset during the game. And so I definitely feel you on that one. But going back through your career, man, you could pick an O lineman, you could pick a skill player here. But who are some of the best offensive players you've ever had to face?
I'll tell you right now, hands down, Lewis Kidd. Like, even though
Ooh.
like we're on the same team and everything, but Lewis Kidd is probably one of the best offensive tackles I've ever had to play against. The man has one of the strongest punches ever, moves his feet, is a great athlete, and is insanely strong.
I like that one. I like that one. And he's also on his way to the NFL draft, so I'm expecting to see his name as well called in April. But you cannot pick Montana State because I understand. Listen, I saw how they turned out for y'all's semifinal game. It was like negative, however, and it was snowing, and they had that stadium packed out for you guys. But outside of Montana State, which team had the best environment you've ever played in?
It wasn't exactly the best for us, but probably North Dakota State. Their fans, like, they're a different level. Like, I would say their fans are invested in that game to the point where you would think that they were actually the ones playing in the game. It's
Ooh.
wild.
Wow. Yeah, the Fargo Dome is different. I know you guys got to experience that in Frisco as well, man. But the NFL draft process is a long one, and the FCS, and this has been a topic on my show for a long time, is that people always overlook the FCS because you guys aren't on ESPN every week, and things like that. But what is your response to people who may overlook you this April for playing in the FCS?
Um, I mean, I feel like that would be a pretty big mistake. I feel like I've proven, my level of, talent, and not only that, hard work. I wasn't somebody who would just kind of came into FCS and was like a major guy from the beginning. I kind of had to earn my spot and and master my craft and constantly try and get better at what I was doing. Um, you can, say whatever you want about talent, but at the end of the day, hard work beats out talent that refuses to work hard. You know what I'm saying? So, I've demonstrated over and over again, I'm a relentless worker. And, no matter what the occasion is, I will, work to be at that standard.
Man, amazing answer on that one. And so this one's tough. And I don't want you to be too hard on yourself here because I've had players on here way too hard on themselves. But what letter grade would you give your career at Montana State?
Mm, that is, ooh, I might have to give myself a B plus on that one.
That's not bad. That's not bad. You see, I always get worried because I know you guys as players are very hard on yourselves, and sometimes y'all come on here and be like a D plus for an All American year, and I'm like that's on. You got to give yourself a little bit of credit, but B plus is solid. And for you, man, what keeps you motivated year in and year out? I've mentioned the All American Awards. You guys were runner ups for the national championship. You're about to head to the NFL. What keeps Daniel Hardy going?
Um, a lot of people know this. I talk about it a lot, but my dad passed my freshman year of college. He was dealing with a 4-year battle with cancer, and he passed away. And uh, every day, even though he had cancer when I was in high school, and I watched him wake up every day, um, and go to work to make sure our family was taken care of. And so one of my biggest things whenever I'm feeling tired or beat down or things like that, I always think if he could deal with all of that and get up and go to work every day, then me, who is perfectly healthy and fine, I can handle anything that this life throws at me.
Mm. Man, that's an awesome message, man. I know a lot of people need to hear that, man. So shout out to you for that. And then finally, man, last question. This is a big one. I love asking people this, but for you, if an NFL franchise asks you what they're going to get if they draft Daniel Hardy this upcoming April, what kind of player are they getting?
I kind of already talked about it, man. Just a relentless worker. Um, you know, I'm I've been God bless me with amazing talents, but at the same time, I'm not naive enough to think that those talents will get me anywhere if I'm not willing to put in the hard work. I'm a blue collar guy. Um, I I will work my tail off to make sure that I am in a position to succeed. Um, at the end of the day, I may not be the biggest or strongest guy out there on the field, but um, you know, I bet all my chips at saying I'm one of the hardest workers. I don't stop. Quit is not a part of is not a part of who I am. And I'm not coming to the NFL for an experience. I'm not here for that 3-year average, make a little bit of money and get out. I'm trying to make a career out of it.
Oh man, listen. There are a few me covering the FCS. If your name doesn't get called in April, man, you will bet you can tune into this show and we will be raging about it because your name should definitely be called in April. If I had know anything about football, man, and we've been covering the FCS all this year, man. So shout out to you for having an outstanding year. Congratulations again on the All American Awards, the national championship appearance, and everything you've accomplished. But this time is yours, man. We got the interview through, but where can people follow your journey to the NFL? Social media, NIL deals, shout outs, man. This is your time.
Just Instagram, dhardy44_, and then Twitter, dhardy44. I'm not gonna post every day, but I'll definitely be giving updates on there. Definitely letting you guys know how training is going and everything. I appreciate all the love I got on there already, but anybody else who's looking for a place to follow me, you can there. So
Absolutely. Guys, you already know what it is, man. It's always support the players here on the Blue Blood. That's why we do these interviews, man. The FCS gets overlooked, but Daniel Hardy's name, in my opinion, should be called in April, man. So congratulations again. Good luck on your journey to the NFL, man. And we're definitely when you get on that NFL team, and we're gonna have to have you back on, man, and let people know, where they can find where they can watch you on Sundays.
definitely, man. I really appreciate you having me on here. It's been awesome.
Absolutely. But guys, follow Daniel on all social media, man. We'll update you here on the Blue Bloods on his NFL journey. But for Daniel, myself, and the Blue Bloods, we are out for right now.